Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.wordpress.com. Thank you for joining me today for another card making tutorial. There will be a corresponding blog post for this project if you click on the down arrow underneath the video. This is actually being made as part of a blog hop, so if you do click on that link there'll be links to lots of other demonstrators and their projects. And this is the Inspire Ink group. We blog once a month with a different theme, and this time we're doing a sketch challenge. So I can't easily show you the sketch, but if you drop across to my blog you'll be able to see exactly what I'm working to. These are the sets I've decided to work with. So Gracie's Garden is going to be the sort of background and the structure to the card, but the sentiment in the sketch, it indicates being in a circle, and I didn't feel like the sentiments in this set really worked well with a circle, so I've brought in Massive Thanks to use one of the thank you sentiments out of that, and I will be using the coordinating Garden Gateway dies as well. So that's what we're working with. So the first thing we're going to do is get some stamping done. Just going to bring in a scrap of cardstock, and we're going to be using Memento Tuxedo Black ink because we want to colour our images with stamping blends. So I'll just get that ready just there, and I'm going to bring in, there are three sort of flowery images in this set. It's the tall, medium and small. So for demonstration purposes I'm just going to do one of each on the on this piece of cardstock and show you how I coloured them in. But I've got a whole heap of them already prepared and die cut, so we can just get on with creating the card once that's done. Okay, so I'm just going to do one of each of these and just show you what I did with them. I'm just cleaning them off as I go. Right, so let's start with our tallest image. So in fact, actually no, I'll tell you a lie. Here we are. I'm going to do all the foliage first, and I use the dark Granny Apple Green marker for that. And I'm going to use the bullet tip. This is quite a sketchy stamp set, so the accuracy of your colouring in isn't going to matter too much. So I'm literally scribbling over that bottom bit, giving them the impression that I'm colouring them in. Okay, same with this. Now this image, I think it's actually quite hard to tell where the flowers stop and the foliage ends. So do you know what? Just go for it. Just scribble it on. I think those are flowers, leaves poking out behind those flowers there. And I think this is all foliage here, and with the flowers clustered there. And then we've got a suggestion of some foliage down there. Literally just scribbled it on. There was no real technique to that at all. The tall flowers, I chose Poppy Parade. I've opted for the light colour on this one. I am no botanist. I've got no idea what these are supposed to be. If you've got a better idea and you want to do them in the appropriate botanical colour, go ahead. But as you can see, there's no shading going on. I'm just using the marker to suggest colour, and same with these. I'm not really being too super careful colouring those tops in at all. And I don't think it matters if there's little white bits showing here and there. It's just a very sketchy image, so you just go with it. So Poppy Parade for those ones. Okay, and what did I do for these ones? So yellow little daisy things. So which one did I use? This is Dark Daffodil Delight. So again, because they're quite small images, I'm just going with the bullet tip, just to get into those little spaces. And then the top bits though, I thought they did sort of look like lupins or lavender or something. So I've gone with Highland Heather. This is the dark Highland Heather. Or maybe grape hyacinths or something like that. So again, I'm just scribbling over that. I'm just giving, once you've die cut it and everything, it's just going to look fab anyway. And then these little tiny ones, I kind of thought had the look of forget-me-not, so I pulled out the dark balmy blue for those. And these are so teeny tiny. It's really just a suggestion of colour really that I'm putting on there. And again, I'm going outside the line. It doesn't matter. It's that kind of image. Okay, so just to recap, if you want to do the same colours, I use Granny Apple Green for the foliage. We've got Poppy Parade for the tall flowers, Highland Heather and Daffodil Delight for these ones, and I pulled out Balmy Blue for those. Okay, so that's what we've done. Okay, so we're going to wind forward and pretend we've done a whole heap of those and we've die cut them out. And we've ended up with these guys. I also did stamp the garden gate. So all I've done is just added just a hint of what's that called? Smoky slate, just to give it a bit of oomph. I suspect that when we finish putting it all together, we're not going to see much of it anyway, but needless to say, it is there. So we've got a gate. I did 3 of those, I did 2 of them, and I did 3 of these. I may or may not use all of them. But the idea is I want to try and create a rectangle, which is on the sketch, and that one's been die cut a bit wonky, so but these tall ones fit around the gate quite nicely, you know, like that. Might even make it it's a bit symmetrical, but you know, whatever. And then lay these on. But I want it to fit on the card, so that's just a rough idea of how you could lay them out. I mean, the World Your Lobster, when it comes to doing all of these, you could omit the gate completely. The dies have got this great, lovely arbor kind of die in there as well, so there's lots of ways we could create that. I've decided I want a white background. I just want a really nice sort of, I want the colours of the foliage to really pop on this. Okay, so I'm just going to put these to one side just for a sec. And just looking at, I've just got a scrappy sketch. I'm working to this thing. So yeah, okay. And like I say, I want the circle, I want to have the thank you in it, so maybe we should just get that stamped and done. I think I'm just going to stick with black ink though. So that is from the Massive Thanks stamp set, which is actually a new one to me. I haven't used it before. Just looking for a scrap in my scrap box. Don't like to waste cardstock if it's big enough to stamp onto. What to do with memento? There it is. So again, I'm just going to use the memento, I think, just to give it that. So we've got the pop of colour from the flowers, but then we've got the nice dramatic sentiment with the black. And it sort of ties in all the outlines and stuff. You may want to use a different colour for your outlines if you wanted something a little softer. Now, I want to bring in this. This is the number 5 plate for the cut and emboss, and this is a magnetic cutting plate. It is self-healing, so you can see you could actually cut into it. This replaces your cutting your bottom cutting plate, if you're familiar with the sandwiches, which is a bit strange to me. I'm sure all the other magnetic platforms weren't actually a cutting surface, they worked with your cutting plates. So yeah, that's a bit kind of bonkers that you actually cut into it, but it's a self-healing mat, so it will last a long time. But I'm going to reserve it for, you know, times when I really want to get the placement right. So that can be positioned over there. There's no need to put washi tape onto it, and look, it just stays, no problem. Okay, so like I say, that replaces your bottom cutting mat. The rest of the sandwich remains the same, so you use your number 1, your thick platform, your thin die adapter. You replace your first number 3 with your magnetic platform, and then you put a number 3 on top to complete your sandwich. Okay, and then that, like I say, the whole point is that will not move on your plate. It'll give you really nice positioning. It rolls through. You don't even feel it, really, to be honest. No problem at all. So that's stayed lovely in place. Okay, and then if you wanted a sort of a holding place for some dies that you're going to be working with throughout your project, you can actually use it as a holding place for that as well. So that's another way you could use those too. Okay, that's going to go back in my scrap drawer. You might be able to, I'm so frugal. So there's our die cut element for our sentiment. That's almost certainly going to go onto some dimensionals, because it's going to have to pop up off the back of the details. So this is as far as sort of my ideas were going, and then the banner across the middle, I'm going to bring in this beautiful Just Jade ribbon. It would be nice if it was Granny Apple to tie in with the foliage, but I think this gives it sort of a country cottage kind of look to it. So that's going to go run behind there somewhere, and I do have another bit cut because I think we're going to need a bow of some description as well. Okay, so that's where we're going. I think we're ready to start committing some stuff to the to gluing. Don't think we need anything fancy for this, so we'll just use some Stamp and Seal. It is going to be off to one side. This sort of the sketch kind of indicates that. Sticking down ribbon is always a bit of a weird thing to try and do. The best way I find is to use glue dots. So I think what we'll do is we'll attach that end like that, and we'll just run it across there. Secure that end down, and then we'll stick another one in place behind there. Like that. So that's in place, and we'll cut off that excess. Okay, so it just adds a bit of texture without too much fuss. And then this guy, because we're sticking the dimensionals over ribbon, I think we'll add some multi-purpose glue to the back of this to make sure it holds. Oops, not quite that much though. You only need a bit. It just helps with if you've got a textured surface, the flat sticky surface of the dimensional doesn't grip so well. So the wet glue just helps with that, because it will soak through that ribbon. Let's put that a little lower so we've got plenty of room to tuck our flowers behind. That won't set straight away either, so we've got a little bit of wriggle room. So now we need to decide how these guys are going to go in. Okay, So I think these guys are going flat in the background, and we only need a bit of tape just to secure them. Overlapping that gate a bit, let's get some texture. So that bottom bit isn't going to show that much on there anyway, but you don't know that when you're deciding on your compositions and things. So let's stick that one there, and then you can trim these down obviously as well, but I think he's going to tuck in just nicely in front of that one, which is really cute. Again, I think we'll stick that flat with some Stampin' Seal. Like so. Then our other guy can maybe tuck in just there. Might use some liquid glue on this one because it's going over the ribbon a bit. Plus we'll be able to wriggle it around if we decide we need to move it. That might take a minute, so I'm just going to hold that just for a sec. And then these little dudes, I think we need some more dimension, at least on a couple of them. So I think we need minis for this. Let's get some mini dimensionals for each of those. And maybe this one gets tucked in at the back. So we're really building up this floral scene. Oops. Those little foam pads do a bit of static on them. Might put a bit of glue on the other end of that. Like so. Once it firms up, it'll be absolutely rock solid, so that's fine. A bit more glue on this one. Of course, if you can stop at any point if you think it's all getting a bit too much, or hiding elements that you don't want, or so the composition is really up to you. But I just wanted to play with this stamp set. Let's be honest, I just wanted to play with it. Cool. I like. What do you think? So there's loads of dimension going on with that, and then once all this glue dries, it'll be rock solid. It'll be absolutely grand. So you just need to. Top tip is that your stamping blocks make really good weights for holding stuff down while you're waiting for glue to dry and stuff. So you can leave it there to dry. Okay, just take that off so you can see it for one last moment. As I say, if you can just click below and you'll see all the rest of the details on the blog hop and stuff. And do please check out all the other projects too. I'm sure they would value your support. Okay, thanks ever so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you again soon. Okay, take care.